Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Down in the Country podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Reed, and today we are joined with Billie Joe Jones, who's an up and coming country music artist. Thank you so much again for your time today, Billie Joe.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Of course, we're happy you're here. And so you're known for blending traditional country music with your own unique style and attitude. And what does that mean to you regarding your identity as a country music artist?
Man, I really feel like in today's country that we're listening to, my whole goal. I mean, even since I was a little girl, I love traditional country music. So, I grew up listening to what I call the oldies but goodies. So Loretta Lynn, Patsy Cline, George Jones, Tammy Wynette, Ray Price, all the greats. So that's kind of where my brand and my identity, as a country music artist is. I'm trying to blend traditional country with a little bit of modern country in today's day and age. So that's really my goal in this whole thing. So
Yeah, and you bring up an interesting point. So growing up in Texas too as well.
yeah.
My mom had, and it's the first album. And I've mentioned it on multiple podcast episodes before, but it's the 1997 George Strait album, "Carrying Your Love with Me."
Oh my goodness, one
Yeah,
of the best.
and it's still like, and my she still has the hard CD version of that, and I'm
Yeah,
like, you can't give that up at that point. It's
yeah.
like almost 30 years old. But I remember that was like the first album that I remember listening like straight through.
Hmm.
And then the other song that I still have a lot of emotional attachment to this day. And mind you, it's over 20 years old, so I might be dating myself when I say I remember when it came on. But
Yeah.
"I Hope You Dance" by Leanne Womack.
Oh my goodness, yes. Oh my
And then
gosh, one of
and
my
then
favorites.
same here. And then there was another, but listen to Mickey Gilly too
Hmm.
as well, and then
Yeah,
a little bit of Buddy Jewel here and there, and like that's what I thought like Texas country music was.
yeah.
But it's amazing, kind of like how it's also changing too as well.
Yes, it really is. And like I feel like Texas country is kind of a world of its own. When you compare Texas country to like the mainstream or Nashville radio, Texas country is definitely a world of its own. I feel like so. And everyone asks me that, like, what's the difference? I'm like, I don't really know how to explain it, except that Texas just kind of does things their own way and they're in their own world
Yeah,
type thing. So
yeah,
it's really cool, like where I'm at right now, because I get to be a part of both worlds. So I'm in the Texas country scene, but I'm also hitting the mainstream, Nashville side of things as well. So I love being a part of both of them.
and how have you been able to balance both of those?
Sometimes it's pretty difficult, but most of the time, honestly, there's so many different parts, that are being played that are, really kind of go hand in hand together. So I have my Texas radio promoters, I have my mainstream radio promoters, and sometimes they kind of hit on the same, stations as well. So it does nothing but helps boost my numbers on both areas. So it works really well sometimes.
Awesome. You know what they say about Texas? It's not just a state; it's an idea.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
So it's like kind of what you were saying. It's like I can't teach you Texas. You just gotta like experience it.
Yeah, you have to just come experience it for yourself. That's the best way to put it. That's what I need to start saying to people.
Yeah, but it's also amazing too as well. It's like where I'm from in Dallas. It's a totally different world. Like going to Amarillo versus Houston versus the
Oh,
whole country. And
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
and mind you, it's only like a 3.5 hour drive between all the big large
Hmm.
cities, more or less. So
Yeah.
but yeah, and anyway, like transitioning the conversation over to your music. So "Whose Tequila Are You Drinking"
Hmm.
and "Some Girls Don't Cry" are two singles on your 2024 album, "Some Girls Don't Cry."
Yeah.
That they really represent you as an artist and as a person. Could you provide an introduction to "Whose Tequila Are You Drinking"?
Yeah. So I feel like the best way to describe, because that's what you want. You want me to describe the song, really.
Hmm.
It's so funny. It's actually going to be my next radio single. My current radio single is "Some Girls Don't Cry," and it just hit number one today on Texas Regional Radio. So now I've had two consecutive number ones. But "Whose Tequila Are You Drinking" is actually going to be my next radio single, and it's pretty much talking about a girl walks into a bar and sees a guy that she used to date, and she sees that he's, holding, a shot of tequila, and she's like, "Whose tequila are you drinking? Because you've never drank tequila before. Like, you've only been able to drink light beer." Is one of the lines in the song. So it's pretty much just, her seeing this guy and seeing that, he's holding a tequila for somebody else, and she's like, she just wants him to know, like, I know that there's a girl here, even though she's not standing next to you because you don't drink that, type thing. So, but it's called Whose Tequila Are You Drinking? We're actually in the process of finding a really good tequila sponsor. So, hopefully we can get that going, and we're going to get a music video done before it comes out as well. So I'm excited for this song to come out. It's already out, but it'll be out to radio pretty soon.
Awesome. And do you mind if we play a little clip of it?
Yeah, for sure. Go for it.
It's hard to see you after all this time. These locals really make this place seem green. I come in here to escape all the madness, and the way you leaving me makes me feel. Whose tequila are you drinking? You never drank that stuff before. Right here was all you could handle. Who you holding that drink for? Why to me, she's here tonight. Look her in her home wrecking eyes. Well, I tell you what I'm thinking. Tell me, tequila are you drinking?
I don't know if anyone's ever told you this before, but you sound a lot like Dolly Parton when you were singing that song. I don't know if that was
Oh,
kind
I
of like,
love it. I
was
love
that,
it.
did you pull a lot of influences from her and those artists from that time?
I mean, a little bit from Dolly. I honestly haven't really been told that I sound like Dolly until this past year or so. So I think my voice has kind of, matured and stuff. And I've been told that several times. And it's also crazy because my producer for my album is Dolly Parton's producer, Kent Wells. So Kent is actually Dolly's producer, and so I've gotten to work with him, and my whole album is recorded and produced by him. So it's pretty fitting that I'm sounding a little like Dolly, I think, but I'm definitely okay with it. I've gotten told that I'm kind of a crossover between Dolly Parton and Miranda Lambert. So I can definitely hear that, in my voice, but I think most people know if they've heard me before, like they're like, oh, that's Billie Joe. So I do have a distinct voice, at least, but I do have a few, Dolly Parton tendencies, which I'm totally okay with because I absolutely love her.
Yeah, and listening to that song for the first time, you were able to balance both kind of that what we started off the conversation with, that traditional country music,
Yes.
with kind of a little bit of that unique style and attitude, kind of seems like from the pop arena too as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And could you provide, like, what was the writing to cutting process like for Whose Tequila Are You Drinking?
I actually didn't write Whose Tequila Are You Drinking? I wished that I had written that song, but I did not. Lynn Snow, the owner of my label, which is Get Joe Records, actually wrote that song, as well as several others on my album. And he's an incredible writer, incredible singer-songwriter as well, but songwriter for sure. And there's so many great hits on that album, and that's definitely one of them. I love the traditional country sound of it, mixed with a little modern flair. It was definitely perfect to go on the album. So I'm glad that we picked that one to make the album.
Awesome. And then your other single, Some Girls Don't Cry, could you provide an introduction for that one too as well?
Yeah. Some Girls Don't Cry is pretty much a song about a girl getting dumped, and she's not going to be sad about it. She's going to call her friends up, and they're going to hit the town and, go out on Broadway and dance and have a good time and, hop in a limousine and all that good stuff. So, and I actually, this song, there's so many people that can relate to this song. I even had a married woman write me on Instagram, and she's like, I'm happily married, but I'm screaming this song at the top of my lungs. So I just think it's great that, married or heartbroken or not heartbroken, whatever, people are singing along to it and dancing and having a good time. And I actually got to do a music video to this song. It's out on YouTube. And I got to bring 7 or 8 of my friends from Texas, and we went to Nashville and filmed a music video and hit some of my favorite places, in Nashville. So that was a lot of fun.
What's your favorite place in Nashville to either eat at or drink at?
Ooh, that's so hard. But I will have to say that my favorite is the Local in Nashville. The Local is definitely my favorite place to go. They have great singer-songwriters coming in there. On Monday nights, they have Will Jones is one of the guys that comes in there and plays with his band, and they play, all traditional country music. So it's such a fun time. You got to go on a Monday night and go check them out. But not only that, their food is absolutely amazing there. It's not your normal bar food. It's like a restaurant. Like they have my favorites, like the salmon with veggies and mashed potatoes. It is so good. So y'all got to go check that place out.
Awesome. And where is it located in Nashville?
It's closer to like Midtown area in Nashville. So, I mean, it's really not far from Broadway. It's probably a couple of miles from Broadway, but it takes a pretty long time to get anywhere from Broadway. But yeah, it's called The Local, and it's a really cool place. I think it's on 12th Avenue, maybe. I don't remember. You just got to look it up.
Yeah. Just Google it.
Yeah, just Google it.
So, do you mind, sorry about the Nashville tangent a little bit, but can we play a Some Girls Don't Cry clip
Oh,
now?
for sure. Just hit #1 today in Texas, y'all. Okay.
I packed a suitcase for the weekend. You won't find me around. I might be headed out to Reno. All I know is I'm getting out of town. One door closes, another opens wide. Some girls don't cry. You thought you hurt me, you thought you got me good. Then you thought I'd take you back. Problem is my daddy taught me what I'm worth, and no boy can put a price tag on that. Some girls worry and they're that type of guy. Some girls don't cry.
I really love the heavy bass drum in that. That's my favorite part.
Oh yeah, this song is so much fun. It's one of those songs that just makes people want to dance and crank it up in the car when they're driving down the road. So yeah, I love it.
And what was the writing to cutting process like for this particular single?
Yeah, this one, I didn't write this one either, unfortunately, but Lynn Snow wrote this song, and I always joke around with him. I'm like, man, you're really getting in touch with your feminine side these days on some of the songs that you're writing, and he thinks that's funny, but he writes, some really great songs, and when I heard this song, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to have it, and I kind of put my twist on, the melody and the ending, and it's just so much fun, and I'm so glad I got to snag it for my album, and then it wound up being the title track of my whole album. So I absolutely love that song.
And what's amazing to me is when you sung both of those songs, it sounded like you were able to really kind of successfully combine your musical influences.
Oh,
but
yeah.
kind of how were you able to integrate those such as like Ray Price, for example, into these songs? Like, did you have any like specific techniques? Were you like, when I go into the studio and record, Whose Tequila Are You Drinking? Or Some Girls Don't Cry, I want to sound like X, or when I hit this note, I want to sound like Y? Or did you just go in there and did you just kind of whatever comes out, comes out?
It's pretty much, for me, whatever comes out, comes out. But at the same time, my producer, Kent Wells, is absolutely amazing. I mean, he's worked with Dolly Parton and Reba McEntire and Tanya Tucker and, all the greats. And so he really listens to the song and the lyrics. And while I'm in there, he'll, make some changes or say, hey, let's try this, or hey, let's try to go for this bigger note, and so we work really, really well together. So I definitely listen, to what he has to say and try to, because he knows what he's doing. He's been, doing it a long time, obviously. And so I think we work really well together, and I try to take into consideration, like, what he's saying or what he's wanting. And he also will listen to me like, hey, let me try this, or, let me try to hit this note again, or, so it kind of I don't know. I think I go in there and sing the song, and sometimes we may even make lyric changes, while we're in there, like, well, hey, let's try this. This, flows a little bit better than what was there. So it really just depends on, on the song and if it needs to be changed. And there's some songs I can go in and sing them 2 times through, and he's like, we're good. You don't even need to do anything else. I don't need to critique anything because it, it was great. So yeah, it just
Awesome.
depends on the song.
Awesome. And specifically about the album, and this, the older I've gotten, I've started to pay attention more to like how albums are structured. Like,
Yeah.
is there a particular song, or is there a particular story, or kind of, you know, that's maybe it's my philosophy major in me, but it's like,
Yeah.
what's the hidden message behind an album? So my question is, what was your thought process behind constructing the album "Some Girls Don't Cry," with the respective singles ranging from "Some Girls Don't Cry" to "Why You Gotta Be So Cowboy"? Like, were you thinking like, oh, I want this song to represent this in a particular way, or like, what did you want listeners to take away in knowing Billie Joe Jones, not only as a artist but also as a human being?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me, with the album and my team, we sat down and we listened to each song, and we would put them, we'd place them, in an order, and we would go through and play like, okay, I think this should be the order that it should be. And we'd go through and play every single song back to back to back to back. Like, I wanted it to flow. I wanted it to go, from one song to this song, but I didn't want to play, a fast song and a fast song and then like 3 slow songs and then someone be bored. It's just I wanted it to flow, I guess is the best way that I should say it. So we put them in order a few times and fixed a few things, and I think we came up with a really great order of the album. So I'm hoping everyone is loving it as much as we do, because they say that if you can't listen to your own song over and over and over and over and over again without getting tired of it, then you probably shouldn't be on your album. And there's, every song on that album I could listen to over and over again. So it turned out to be a really great album, and we're already working on the next album. So I'm excited to get that one out as well.
Wow. So so kind of like, you didn't want people to slam on their brakes when they were listening to your,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Got to put in a truck reference there.
Yes.
So.
I like it.
And so, you and I both being from Texas. So how have you been able to apply Texas in your music? So, like, what do you want people to know about the state and what you've experienced in your life up to this point?
I mean, I guess pretty much is, what I've done is I go and play shows, every single weekend. I love to go meet people. And, most of the songs, that I sing or, that are on my album, like, tell a story, or, if I've, co-wrote them, I've either lived it or I know someone that, has lived through it. So, I mean, I don't think I really put Texas like into my music, I guess you would say. It's just, I want to reach everybody, like, all over. Like, I don't care if you're from Texas or Kentucky or Idaho or Nebraska or Hawaii or, wherever you're from. I want everyone out there to be able to listen to the song and listen to the music and love it, no matter, where they are. I should write a song about Texas, though, and put it on the album, since I am from Texas. So that might be a good idea to put in on the next one. So we may have to make that work.
Do you have like an ideal time frame of when you would like the next album to be released?
It'll come out next year. Honestly, it'll probably won't be till, what is this? What are we in? We're in September. So I would say it probably won't be out until maybe April or May, is what we're shooting for. But it might be June or July again. I don't know. It just depends. My goal is really I want to put out an album a year. And because it's going to take, like, all of these songs that we put on the album, I guarantee you there's probably 5 or 6 of them that we can release to radio. And we've already released 2 this year, and I think we'll get in a third. But we're still going to be releasing music, off this album next year. So it's a long process. Like, when you think about the time that, I started recording this album 2 years ago, and it just now came out, and then we've had songs coming out, to radio. It's a long process of where a song starts and where it finishes, on the radio. So But it's a fun process. But it is very time consuming, and I'm a right now kind of girl, and I want things like, right now, and I can't wait to, what's coming next, but I got to be patient and be in the moment as well. So
Yeah.
it's been a hard lesson to learn.
Yeah, that's a weakness of mine is I like to go 110 miles an hour and
Oh yeah,
everything. And so it's
that
like,
is definitely me.
and it's hard because it's like not everyone wants to go 110. Some might want to go 60, some might want to go 70. And then you're like, well, there's only going to be two logical solutions. Either I'm going to have to slam on my brakes or
Uh-huh.
you're going to have to speed up.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Feel
but
that.
yeah, and so on your website, I really enjoyed reading this quote. And and so it's singing is the only way that I've ever wanted to do. God didn't give me this voice to just sit at home with it. I
Hmm.
believe He gave me this voice and the courage to go out and play shows every weekend. I have always had a heart for people and acting, and getting to share my voice and my story through my songs means everything to me. So, what does this mean to you in your continued journey in the genre of country music?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me is I love to perform on stage. I love to perform at my shows. But while I'm on stage, all I can think about is when can I go to the merch table and meet everybody and shake everyone's hand, give people a hug, hear their stories, see what song that they, related to the most. I love to take pictures with people. I would love if everyone bought merch, but if they don't buy merch, I don't care. Like I'm usually giving away stickers or giving away signed pictures of myself or whatever. That's the biggest thing for me is I love to meet people, and I love to just feel that energy when I get done with a show and they come up to me and they're like, oh my gosh, I loved your show, and this is why. And I soak all of that in, as much as I possibly can, because you never know when that might be your last show. So I absolutely love it.
And gotta ask you, what is the cowboy hat part of the merch?
It's not. It should be, I guess, but it's not. I wear a cowgirl hat every single show. It's my thing. It's my brand. In the summertime, I wear a straw hat, but I love my felt hats, and I'm actually an ambassador for American Hat Company. So absolutely love their hats. So yeah, I wear them. I wear them all the time.
And where could people find out more about American Hat Company? Like, what's the
Yeah,
website?
I think it's AmericanHatCo.com, I think, is what their label is. But if you just type in American Hat Company, their hats are absolutely amazing. The quality of their hats are the very best. I have been holding out for a hat sponsor for several years now, and I was determined to get American Hat Company, and I just got them a few months ago. So absolutely love them. Shout out to American Hat Company. Thank y'all for letting me be a brand ambassador for y'all. And I can't wait to get more hats. I'm excited.
Awesome. And so I got to ask you, being from Texas,
Yeah.
um, I gotta throw in a sports question. You know, football and baseball being a thing. So, are you on the side of Astros and Texans or Rangers and Cowboys?
Mm-mm. Rangers and Cowboys all the way. I'm actually singing at the Rangers game this Sunday. I'm singing at their last home game. I get to sing the national anthem and God Bless America. And I'm a huge Cowboys fan. So go Cowboys and go Rangers all the
Yeah,
way.
awesome. Yeah, I was gonna say there's only one right answer.
There is only one right answer. Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah, not to I have some friends from Houston, so I like to give them a hard time when I can about
Yeah. Oh, I do too. Especially when we beat them.
yeah, definitely. Um, and so the last question I did have for you is, like, you did touch upon this with the album, but do you have any other upcoming shows or EPs, singles, or anything else about the album that you want us to know about?
Yeah, so my full length album is out right now. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. We are not doing any CDs, but we are doing a signed limited edition vinyl. So if you go to my website, billiejojones.com, it's BILLIEJOJones.com. It's the first thing you see. You can click on it. It's on pre-sale right now. They will ship probably the end of October. So I'm so excited to get those out. And I think we're only doing 300 of those. So there's not very many left. So y'all need to go order you one. And I will, sign all of them and get it out to you. Y'all be sure and listen to, every song on my album. I'd appreciate it. And if y'all like it, send me a message, let me know, send me an email. There's a link on my website. You can shoot me a message. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, good or bad. I love, constructive criticism as well. So yeah,
And
y'all check it out.
what has been the general feedback that you've received from listeners on your album?
Oh man, it has been. I'll read you a few. I just got this. They do a press release all over, Texas and Nashville, and here's one. One person said, Billie Joe Jones sings loud and proud in her brassy and sassy music video for Some Girls Don't Cry. That was from Cowboys and Indians. And someone said, it's catchy like 9 to 5. My favorite line is about what the mama says about her own boy. It's a very fun anthem. And that was someone in New York. So it's been, nothing but really great feedback. Everyone that's listened to it, they love the album. So I hope that y'all love it and you'll go buy a vinyl. If not, just go listen to it on Spotify and Apple Music and keep sharing it with everybody. So
awesome. And when you tour Nashville, go around Nashville and play music, like, do you have do you think Some Girls Don't Cry is going to be part of like that set list that you're going to sing when you go around and play the writers' rounds?
Oh yeah, it's definitely one of my very favorite songs to play live. It's just a fun song, and it gets the crowd going no matter if you're in a listening room or if you're at a bar playing in front of a bunch of people. So it's definitely a song that'll be hanging around for a while, I think.
Awesome. And be sure to subscribe to Down in the Country podcast on YouTube, as well as listen to the audio version of this interview on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Billie Joe, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And this is Dylan Reed.